everybody, from Patriots Point Soccer Stadium in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Charleston Battery taking on Tampa Bay Rowdies in a big Eastern Conference matchup, especially for Tampa Bay, trying to chase down the #1 seed in the East playoffs. Tonight's matchup is brought to you by Hendrick Volvo Cars of Charleston. Sean St. Jacques, Ricky Lopez Espin here with you. Excited to give you some action here tonight in the USL Championships Eastern Conference. Charleston Battery, Ricky, out of things as we take a look at the Eastern Conference standings. They played the spoiler role rather well. Tampa Bay Rowdies trying to climb up to second in the standings.
And it's a lot at stake here tonight. Tampa Bay Rowdies, like you alluded to, Sean, trying to put pressure on Memphis, trying to get that #1 or #2 seed. And then Charleston Battery, what are you playing for? You're playing for your pride. You're playing for your next contract. You're playing to impress Connor Casey why you deserve to play for the Charleston Battery in this 2023 USL Championship season. So a lot to play for. I'm expecting a really exciting 90 minutes of football here tonight.
Battery have played pretty well as the spoilers so far this season. We look back at the last time these two met earlier in the campaign, and Charleston left Florida with a 1-1 draw.
And it's a massive result for this Charleston Battery. So I'm going against Tampa Bay Rowdies in Al Lang. Not many teams walk out of there with the result. So look for this Charleston Battery team to work off of that, to get that confidence and know how to play against the Tampa Bay Rowdies. So if you're Connor Casey, you're looking back at this film and saying, boys, we can't do this.
Let's take a look at tonight's player to watch, brought to you by Breeze Airways and the Charleston International Airport. Have to go with Augie Williams. What a season he's had.
And talking to Connor Casey, he said one thing about Augustine Williams is that he's just so eager to learn, always asking for tips, always asking how to get better at the position. Tonight, he needs to stay high, occupy that back line of the Tampa Bay Rowdies. And one thing I love about him is just his movement inside that 18-yard box, always opportunistic, always playing off the shoulder. Augustine Williams needs to be good for tonight for the Charleston Battery.
Well, it's always interesting late in the regular season as the Battery look to continue the role of spoiler in South Carolina tonight. The Rowdies have their eyes on the top seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. It's another big one in South Carolina tonight, and the kickoff is coming up next.
This is your vacation, your beach, your fields of green, skies of blue, mountains of majesty. You're an athlete, you're obsessed, you're in love, you're in pain, spirit drained, in agony, fighting gravity, because you made a commitment to yourself and others to work on your game, build your frame in blazing heat, exhausted and beat. You're not alone, you're supported, pushed, tested, tried, true, broken, fixed, and put back on track to do it all again. Your road is long, on open highway, completely secluded, jammed with traffic, horns blaring, sirens screaming, speed limit, near misses, head-on collisions, body shops, rest stops, so many tolls to pay. Your destination isn't a place, it's a record, a dance, a feeling. Hands in the air, stands on their feet, joy all around. Because when you refuse to yield, your spirit is revealed. You are an athlete. MUSC Health, Sports Medicine.
Tonight's match is brought to you by Hendrick Volvo Cars of Charleston. At Hendrick Volvo, you can shop the new 2022 lineup of Volvo and know your car is in good hands with their award-winning service. Hendrick Volvo Cars of Charleston is truly the one-stop shop for all things Volvo in the Low Country. Sean St. Jacques, Ricky Lopez, Espen back here with you. Bud Light brings us the starting lineups this evening. We start with the host, Connor Casey's Charleston Battery.
And you look at those middle four, Flanagan, Piggott, Quaqua, and Harmon. But don't be surprised if you see Andrew Booth flip-flop with Flanagan. Flanagan has given this Connor Casey side a little bit of jolt of energy. You have Augie Williams playing the 9, and Cicero is going to sit. Look where the relationship between number 9 and 24 is going to be massive for the Battery tonight.
And on the other side of things, for Neil Collins in his 5th season in charge of the Tampa Bay Rowdies, big news, Sebastian Guenzati trying to get back into shape as far as fitness and become a bigger part of this team, and that could really change things for them in the postseason.
And it's all about the front three, Fernandez, Guenzati, like you said, Sean, and LaCava. Guenzati's going to stay high. It's going to give the real estate for Fernandez to come underneath, and LaCava, we know what he's all about. So explosive for 1v1. You look at Itsu and Hilton, going to dictate tempo, move the ball from left. Really talented starting 11 for Neil Collins and the Tampa Bay Rowdies.
They have their eyes on the top 2 seeds in the Eastern Conference as we take a look now at tonight's Keys to the Game, brought to you by Gildan, a leader in high-quality, comfortable apparel basics located right here in Low Country. Ricky, what stands out for the Battery tonight?
For the Battery, they need to implement their identity. Start good the first 15, 10 minutes. How quickly can they get into the rhythm? How quickly can they get confidence pulling apart this Rowdy side? And for the Rowdies, get Guenzati high in confidence with service. A striker lives and dies by the service that he gets. Guenzati's a player that he needs service inside that 18-yard box, plays off the shoulder, very clever movement inside that 18-yard box. So when you get him going, the Tampa Bay Rowdies are a different animal. So if he gets a couple goals tonight, watch out for them as playoffs are approaching.
And they've been playing pretty darn well without him consistently in the lineup this season. Let's take a look now at the injury report. It is presented by MUSC Health Sports Medicine. Charleston, Kuzminski, probably the biggest of the 5 not in there tonight. And Van Keziel, along with Jake Arman, coming over from Charlotte Independence, now in League One during the offseason. And again, Sebastian Guenzati's been one of those players in and out of the lineup this season as well. It says a lot about Neil Collins' side that they've been able to go to their depth and continue to be one of the best teams in the East, regardless of who's been in and who's been out.
And that's why they just have so much quality, so well respected. The standard of this USL Championship for years in this Eastern Conference. A credit to Neil Collins and that front office just doing their homework to know they need depth in this season.
Trying to get back to the USL Championship final as Connor Casey and Neil Collins exchange pleasantries on the touchline. Luis Arroyo is our center official this evening in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. And Charleston Battery look to continue playing the role of spoiler pretty well so far this season. It's not a role that they're accustomed to. We always used to seeing the Battery in the playoffs and maybe even of clinching it by this time in the season. New territory for them, territory that they don't like to be in, but they're making the most of it. As we talked about in the open, Ricky trying to get ready for a strong campaign next season on top of finishing the season strong. Business as usual for the Rowdies, trying to chase down the top seed in the East. And a result here in South Carolina tonight could go a long way to helping them do just that. We're underway. Charleston Battery in their black and yellows, going from left to right on your screens. Tampa Bay Rowdies in those neon greens, attacking on the right to left side. Sean St. Jacques, Ricky Lopez, Espen here with you. It's been a good run of form of late for the Battery, coming off a 3-0 victory over Red Bulls 2 last time out. 4 of the 5 wins have come here in South Carolina this season for the Battery. On the other side of things, the Rowdies red hot, coming off a 6-1 win over Vegas, who are still in a playoff spot in the Western Conference. These two tied back in June in their last meeting. And if it's any case, the last few games at least, the Battery will be up for it, and the Rowdies will need to match their intensity.
And that's something I asked Connor Casey, saying, what has changed the last couple weeks? You were able to kind of tighten things up on the back end and be very stout defensively. There's a chance here.
Opportunity for the Battery within the first minute and change. That's deflected out, and Charleston have an early corner.
He's going back to that point, talking about their backline efforts. He said, look, we've just been more confidence, discipline, not giving any silly turnovers in that back end. Our main objective is always getting a clean sheet and scoring goals and running more, showing that we're putting forth the effort. In the Tampa Bay Rowdies, when you see the ball hit the back of the net 6 times, you're going to be full of confidence. So it's a challenge for the Battery to put a halt to this high firing power of the Tampa Bay Rowdies in that front line.
Yeah, 5 different goal scorers, Ricky, in that 6-1 victory. Only Leo Fernandez grabbed a brace. And Cosana, Dos Santos, LaCava, and Scarlett on the score sheet, as well as that's mishandled in the penalty area. Chance for Charleston, and it's sent soaring over the top and out by Matt Sheldon for a goal kick.
And Neil Collins is not going to be happy with the lack of defending here, the inability to clear this ball. We give credit to Williams, just rolls into the path of Sheldon, and he gets just all wrong. Heads back, off balance. That's why you see go over the crossbar. Look for this to inject a bit of energy and confidence in Charleston Battery. You can just see not a happy manager at the moment, Neil Collins.
Well, you said it, and the picture showed it right on cue. Neil Collins certainly won't hesitate to not only support his players, but remind them what the standard is. I feel like every time we chat with Neil Collins, he reminds not only us, but he reminds his players what the standards are for Tampa Bay, and that they want to reach them every time they play, and they score right on cue. And look who's got it, Sebastian Guenzati. Just his 2nd goal of the season. Could that be a big moment in Tampa Bay's season, not only to get their talisman and captain going, but to get a vital goal here on the road in Charleston? The Rowdies lead by a 1-0.
When we talked about service, we talked about him staying high. And this is just through and through Tampa Bay Rowdies football. The understanding for White just to take his real estate and then put this ball out wide on the right time. Antley, and you just see the movement of Guenzati getting off the shoulder of Archer between Sheldon and the striker's goal. Lacking confidence? I don't think so, Guenzati, to open up this game 1-0 within 10 minutes. And you can just see how much it means to Neil Collins, how happy it is, the supporting fans. Dream start for the Rowdies on the road.
Well, we talked about what that man could mean to the Rowdies if he can get back to last season's form. What a big moment for him, and what a big moment for the Rowdies that could be. You saw it all over the face of Neil Collins after he was berating his team for not guarding the set piece well on the other end. They score and take the lead moments later.
You have to give credit to White. As he has the real estate in front of him, he advances the ball, and it's just about timing. He engages A.J. Patterson, and that's why he gives this ball out to Antley. And Antley puts a dime of a ball in.
Remember, Sebastian Guenzati scored 21 goals last season in the league for Tampa Bay Rowdies. I believe it was 22 in all competitions for the Rowdies a season ago. Those are the numbers he's more accustomed to getting, not the ones we've seen this season, but could that be the spark to a big finish to the season for him? And we talked about this before we came on, Ricky. If Guenzati is anywhere near where he was a season ago towards the end of this season, Tampa Bay becomes a very different animal. Not just in the regular season, but potentially in the playoffs. It's going to be a lunge in and a foul as the ball was played up towards Guenzati. That's Enoch Kwakwa who lunged in and concedes the set piece.
A bit over-eager here. Hard challenge. Kwakwa just comes in late and takes out Hilton. He's such a special player for the Rowdies. Hilton just sits in the middle of the field, is really a guy who makes everything happen, pulls the strings. His passing range and his confidence, his technique is massive for the success for the Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Yeah, set piece regular, Lewis Hilton. But that's what's so, when you look at the Rowdies top to bottom, so great about them is seems like every player on the pitch from forward to back has that kind of quality on the ball, and it's what we saw last season from Guenzati, and we just got a glimpse of it just a few minutes ago. His goal coming in the 3rd minute to give the Rowdies the lead. As that's going to be a foul and a free kick. It was a nice run from Jake LaCava, formerly of Red Bulls 2. And Matt Sheldon won't like it, but it's a set piece for the visitors, already leading by a 1-0 in these early stages.
And if you're the batter, you have to be extremely careful not to let this thing get away from you within the first 10 minutes. You can just see LaCava, how explosive he is 1v1. We talked about it. I think Sheldon does have an argument to be said. LaCava's looking for that contact. He goes down, but you're always giving an opportunity to the referee when you have that extension of the elbow. And now it's an opportunity, like you just mentioned, Sean, Lewis Hilton, to whip this ball in, aiming for right on top of that 6-yard box.
Well, Vegas in the last game didn't handle the first half well. In these kind of moments, Charleston will have to do so, the way the Rowdies are in form at the moment. Hilton stands over it, whips in a really good ball in the end. The goalkeeper, Hugo Farrell, reads it really well. It was bending into that top corner, and he's able to easily corral it. Battery come up the other end of the pitch. They have a few numbers over here if they can squeeze something out. Williams into the middle, looking for Cicero. Deflected out of play. Castellanos on the defensive work, and it's out for a corner.
That's really good understanding from Cicero. As Williams peels out, he takes a central position, plays as that striker. Really good idea from Williams, but talk about acrobatic, athletic, defensive positioning from Castellanos.
Battery have a chance to respond via a set piece. Short option available for Piggott. Although Hilton is right on top of it. Ball is whipped in with a lot of height on it. Guenzani's headed out of play in the end. DZ Harmon on the throw for Charleston. Tries to fit it into a tight area, finds a way into the middle of the penalty area. Williams on the header after the cross came in from Andrew Booth, who did really well to sneak in behind. In the end, CJ Cochran comes up with it.
A really good response from the Battery, going down 1-0. Very easy just to hang your head and say, not the dream start, okay. Out of the playoffs, not much to play for, but not this side, not this Connor Casey boys. They know what it means to them. They know the pride, how much it means to put on a Charleston Battery jersey. Really good response the last couple minutes here.
We talked about playing for next season, a contract, and maybe even for a spot on this team, but the history of Charleston Battery as well. The crest means so much, especially in this league. It's one of the cornerstone clubs. That surely goes into it as well, and Connor Casey and his coaching staff will certainly know that. Battery matches are the perfect place to make lifelong memories with your friends and family. A group of 10 or more can enjoy discounted tickets, exclusive on-field experiences, and private hospitality areas. To catch the match, visit charlestonbattery.com to learn more and plan one memorable night at Patriots Point.
You need to be really careful now for the Battery. How quickly can you move this ball from left to right? You can just see Etsu and Hilton right behind that back line of three. So if you're Cicero and Booth, you have to play off the shoulder of those guys. Play in between the lines, behind them, in front of that back three. As we're going to have that real estate, the pocket to turn down the half turn with the willing runners of Flanagan, Williams, and Harmon. The big emphasis on those players that are withdrawn forwards to find those right spacing.
Augustine Williams holds up the play nicely. You mentioned Andrew Booth had an assist and 4 key passes in the win against Red Bulls 2 in the 30 minutes he played last time out on the 3rd in that 3-0 victory. Certainly been a player that's made an impact this season as DZ Harmon gets to the byline, crossing it into the middle, and it's good positioning on a well-placed ball by CJ Cochran to come up with it. Another good season for CJ Cochran in goal for the Rowdies. It's actually 2 saves away from 300 in his USL Championship career coming into the night. That save might have actually gotten him to the 300 mark, although Neil Collins is more worried about the last sequence than anything else. telling his team to get after it, keep the intensity high.
He's not happy just with the one defending of Guillen. DZ Harmon beats him far too easy, just a drop of the shoulder. He's able to get that cross away. Like you said, Sean, very good positioning from Cochran. He's a defender himself. It's always going to be a big challenge to please him.
Ball in from Fernandez is cut out. Well, that's the thing, right? Sometimes when people from the outside looking in look at games like this, they expect the Rowdies to just take care of business, do the job. The Battery have no hopes of making the playoffs, but you can't tell that when you talk to the coaches and you see what they do on the sidelines. They treat these games like they mean everything because in a lot of ways, they do. Not just for the fans, but for the players and for these staffs as well. And we haven't even gotten to the do or die games yet, of course. Rowdies looking to add on to their lead in the early stages. Ball is spread out here. Guillen comes up with it. Etu to Hilton. There is a good Rowdies contingent. We saw them celebrating the goal from Guenzati that have made the trip up from Florida. Always flared over the top to the byline. Another chance for Tampa Bay here. Guenzati! Oh, he nearly scored again. A whisker wide of that far post. And the ball gets deflected out. Nearly a brace in 13 minutes. Just couldn't hit the target from a tight angle.
Just see how fluid the Rowdies are. Again, it's just the relationship between Antley and White. Good move from Guenzati, making that near post run. It's so critical for a striker to make that run. One, it gets you on the end of the ball, but second, if you don't get on the end of it, it just pulls out an opposition player. And you can see LaCava making that cutback run. Antley decides to go for it. A hot man, Guenzati, trying to get his brace within 15 minutes, but just so unlucky, pulls it wide.
What a start that would have been. Again, coming into the night, he'd only scored once all season. His total would have went up by 200% if that had gone in.
We're in their hand. If you're the Battery, you're AJ Patterson and Flanagan. You have to get on the same page. That's twice you've gotten beaten too easy around the edges. It almost results in a 2-0 deficit so early. The positioning as one stays in, one stays out. You can't be caught on the same plane or flat-footed.
A quick score update from around the Eastern Conference. No score between Pittsburgh and Lou City. 15 minutes into that game. Hartford already leading Tulsa 2-0 in Connecticut. That would basically end all hope that Tulsa has left of making the playoffs. Tulsa has to win that game. And Indy 11 leading Birmingham Legion at home by a 0-0. That could be a potential blow for the Legion's chance of getting a home playoff game. Still a lot of games to go, of course, but Indy 11 not mathematically out of it either, to be fair. But bigger thing on the line there is that battle between the likes of Pittsburgh and Birmingham and Miami for that 4th spot. Well, the Rowdies, Memphis, who've had a tremendous and historic season themselves in Lou City, battling out for the top spot. Booth there, dispossessed. Tampa Bay win it back, although they give it right back in the end. DZ Harmon, 2 players on him trying to hold it up. Cicero goes for the spectacular. And in the end, you could see the body language there. Didn't hit it like he wanted to and curls it over the top.
Those are the situations where you want Booth. Yes, he gets dispossessed with the long touch. But just a reaction, again, DZ Harmon, I just think he's caught between 2 minds. He should take a shot here, trying to pull this into that far post. And then it's always a big challenge for Cicero just to get around for it with the pressure from Metsu. And again, it's just that movement of Andrew Booth. It's causing all sorts of problems.
Charleston could be in again. Booth was waiting for it. In the end, the pass across is deflected back out. Much better from Charleston. They'll get another set piece out of it.
And just the movement. Again, very uncharacteristic from the Rowdies. Trying to play to the back once again. Silly turnover. Then it's a big man, Archer, trying to get in, trying to play assist maker to Booth. And again, it's Castellanos once again coming across, putting out a fire. He's been very good at reading the play.
Anytime Charleston have gone forward, they've been dangerous. It's been defensively where they've had to work some things out, as many teams do seemingly against Tampa Bay. From the corner, is lofted into the penalty area. In the end, Cochran catches. Guenzotti. All the way back to Guillen. Celebrating its 75th anniversary, Select is proud of the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. Choose what you play at www.selectsportamerica.com. Select. League's choice, player's choice. Sebastian Guenzotti's second goal of the season has the Rowdies in front so far. A captain's goal for the Talisman. LaCava, that was some lovely work between him and Etu on the edge of the penalty area. It falls apart in the end. That's the combination play that makes the Rowdies so difficult to deal with from open play.
That's how clean they are, the movement, holding players out of position, combination, whatever you want, top of the 18-yard box to when they're at the best. The Tampa Bay Rowdies, when they're on the same page and then clicking on all cylinders, a nightmare to defend.
We said this earlier, but it seems like it doesn't matter who's even in the positions. Every one of them is so good with the ball at their feet. Castellanos and Williams battling there. Looks like Williams gets the better of it. Wins a free kick. Able to hold up the play in the end. It allows the Battery to possibly create something from a set piece. Indy have scored again, by the way. Birmingham now 2-0 down on the road. Could be a very interesting result there if that one holds. Again, we're keeping an eye on all the scores from around the league. Plenty of Western Conference action later. Orange County, Vegas is a big one. Switchbacks, Detroit City as well. RGV, New Mexico United. Phoenix, Oakland as well. A lot of people have that one circled on the calendar as well. So it's a lot of good stuff in the USL Championship tonight. And again, nobody in the West is out of it. Everyone somehow is still alive. It's pretty remarkable.
One key for this Battery side is how high and wide can Flanagan and Harmon stay to pin back Guillen and Antley to make that line of five. The Rowdies want to get on the ball. They want those players to join the attack and join the attack more often than not, excuse me. But if you put them in defending, you're gonna have a lot of space.
Ooh, good ball in there for Cicero, who couldn't quite get on the end of it. Harmon keeps it alive. There's a little bit of extracurriculars after the ball went away. Harmon chipping it back in. It's still alive. Avion Flanagan gets onto it. Able to reset things. Sheldon picks it up. Serves it to the near side. Harmon did well to keep that in play. Sheldon back into the penalty area. Rowdies have enough men behind the ball. Two good headers, one. Guenzotti the second, helping it on. Good sliding challenge defensively by A.J. Patterson, but the Rowdies come away with it. In the end, though, Jake LaCava doing everything he can, can't keep it in play.
As I'm mentioning, just the defensive duties from Guillen and Antley. If they get beat, there's going to be a lot of real estate. Leave their back three extremely vulnerable. So Flanagan and Harmon 1v1 need to be extremely good at their discipline to stay high and pull those gate players out of the game.
Newest and nicest airline to take to the skies is proud to call Charleston home and support the Battery. Check out Breeze Airways today for an accessible and genuinely nice experience for everyone with flights to over 20 destinations across the U.S. nonstop from Charleston International Airport, while offering low fees and fares, flexible booking as well. As Charleston have a chance to equalize, they do. Tampa Bay couldn't deal with it. It's thrashed home by Andrew Booth. The Battery are level, just like that, one apiece. Brilliant finish from the Charleston midfielder.
And we talked about this movement from Augie Williams. He starts centrally, but peels out to his left-hand side. And then it's Sachero's duty to stay centrally, to occupy the space that was vacated. Good movement in the end. Sachero's in the right spot, and then you can't teach this. The technique to hit this off the volley. As this ball just pops out, Andrew Booth makes no mistake. Head down, technique 100. And Andrew Booth sticks into the back of the net, getting a second goal on the year. You can see what it means to Connor Casey. Just a reaction from the boys has been brilliant.
Battery goal with a sparkling finish, brought to you by Diamonds Direct. And the wave of emotions from Neil Collins continues. Not gonna be happy with that. Great finish from Andrew Booth, his second goal of the campaign. And we talked about the great response in the attacking third from the Battery. They get their reward.
And you have to give credit just to the movement of Augie Williams once again, that pulls out Wyke and just plays in the soft spot between him and Antley, taking out the wing back, and then it's 1v1 down the other way to put a ball across. Good understanding from Sachero. That's how you play together, that front three, Booth, Williams, Sachero, as one stays high, one goes wide, and one sits in a bit. You're Connor Casey, your happy manager so far, 23 minutes into this game.
Just to finish the business end of that last sequence, Breeze Airways, that's seriously nice, and so was the Booth finish. One apiece, with Charleston yet again fighting back against one of the top teams in the East.
And for both of these sides, as they play that back three, it's just that risk that you run needs to be very good. First in your discipline, your positioning, your communication, and the rotation. Both goals for both sides. There's been a lack of that on the end of it.
Avion Flanagan able to pick out a pass. Such a talented player. Started the season with FC Cincinnati 2 and MLS Next Pro. And a great addition for Connor Casey's group since coming into the fold. Couldn't quite find a teammate in the end, however.
It's the second time he's got a little bit of space that he makes by himself and just whips in a ball. Profile fits perfectly for that wing back in that Connor Casey system.
Well, it was 1-1 the last time these two met. Haven't even played 25 minutes in this one. Same scoreline. Now the Rowdies looking to respond. Ball played over the top. I think Guenzati fell down under his own feet there. Nudged off of it. Hugo Farreau will eventually restart the play for Charleston. I said this earlier, Charleston have won 2 of their last 5. 4 of the 5 wins they've had this season have come here at Patriots Point. Well, this was always going to be a tough test for the Rowdies tonight, and they have, despite getting off to a good start, received blowback from the Battery. They've gone onto this near side, and it's flared out wide by Etu for LaCava to chase. Guillen. LaCava. Etu for Hilton. It's a good rotation here. Wyke. And again. And Wyke is forced back to Castellanos. Guillen. Castellanos switches the point of attack. There's Jordan Scarlett, who did score last time out against Vegas, gets into the fold here. That's a misplaced pass, and you can't do that with the Battery lurking. It's a 2-on-1 with Williams over to the right. Oh, tremendous save by C.J. Cochran. Augie Williams had it on a plate. C.J. Cochran denies the Battery a turnaround. It leads to a corner. Sensational save.
But very uncharacteristic from Hilton, and give credit to Andrew Booth. So opportunistic, but then also the timing to make Castellanos come across, and that leaves Williams wide open, and he's gonna want this one back. The striker, 14 goals on the year. You put in your money that he hits the back of the net there. He knows it, but give credit to Cochran, how quickly he comes across, deny him to keep this game 1-1.
What a huge moment early on that could turn out to be. We talked about big saves. CJ Cochran now has over 300 in the USL Championship. Boy, was that a big one. Ball whipped into the near post. It'll be sent right back out. Sachero will try it again from the corner. And what a first half to the first half we've had so far. Sachero again into the middle, nearly a head onto it towards goal. Sheldon recycles, chips it back in. Offside position would have been called if it got there. Cochran comes up with it.
The Rowdies are having a very hard time dealing with this press of the Battery. Well, 3 times now, a wayward pass, very uncharacteristic with the talent that they have. The players that are able to pick passes with breaking lines, playing forward. We have to give credit once again to Connor Casey and the Battery. Defensively, they've been spot on. Clogging passing lanes, very compact, not having too many gaps open. And almost resulted in taking the lead here.
Especially been good since that 5-minute mark after the goal went in as well, Ricky, to your point. And that has allowed the game to change a bit here. Looks like the Rowdies get a free kick off the AJ Patterson challenge. Wearing the captain's armband tonight for the hosts.
And if you're stepping out of this back three, you have to be 100% certain that you're winning that challenge. It's either the player goes by or the ball, not both, because then you only have 2 players covering you as well. Fernando's just so clever, so cheeky the way that he plays and the spaces that he takes up.
Castellanos tried to head it back. LaCava keeps that alive. It's flared forward towards Guenzani. Sheldon has to be careful. He's pushed down in the end, it appears. Referee spots it. Battery get a free kick. Battery are right back at Patriots Point Friday, September 23rd, facing RGV for Hispanic Heritage Night. Tickets are available now via SeatGeek, the Battery's exclusive ticketing provider. Get your tickets now and save up to $10 per seat when you buy in advance at tickets.charlestonbattery.com today. For the time being, RGV are also still alive for the playoffs, so the Toros will be on notice for the time being when they come to Charleston. It's not going to be an easy night, as that is going to be a yellow card given to Mauro Sachero for the challenge. First booking of the match for either side.
And it's a late challenge here. LaCava, you can just see the studs exposed. Right in front of Neil Collins, he knows what he's doing. A bit frustrated, not able to make his impact felt. I think he would like Sachero so far.
Yellow cards brought to you by
Sphinx Convenience Stores yellow card located across South Carolina. It's a very tardy challenge from Sachero. I do feel like strikers have been getting better over the years, Ricky, making those kind of challenges, but every once in a while you see one that is ill-timed. For the time being, we are level at 1 each. It's been a great game so far. The Rowdies opened it up within 3 minutes. Guenzani scoring his 2nd goal of the season for them. And then it was Andrew Booth who came up with the equalizer for Charleston. We're in a hydro break, brought to you by Recover 180. And these are the goals we just mentioned. Guenzani, who you talked about, Ricky, having to get him more involved in this Rowdies team now that he's closer to being fit, and he comes up with a big goal in the early stages.
And then we talked about the service that he needs to get him going. Yes, it's a brilliant ball in from Manley, but talk about the movement to come to go away, playing off the shoulder of Archer. Sheldon slow to react. Gonzalez textbook goal. And then it was just all about the movement of Augie Williams that was causing all sorts of problems for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. As Williams pushes wide, Sachero comes centrally, and then it's Booth cleaning it up. Textbook strike to draw this game 1-1. And then talk about a big-time goalkeeping save from Cochran. The timing is spot on as Castellanos comes across. Injured Booth puts it perfect for Williams, and he's going to want this one back. He should be hitting the back of the net there, and that's how we walked into this hydro break.
Big moment for Andrew Booth, his second goal of the campaign as well. It's a very tidy finish from the midfielder. And that's where we stand at the moment. The sun is just about set here in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. It was Hilton again, nearly dwelling on that. Sachero putting some good pressure on him, and Booth has been helping out with that as well. Augustine Williams providing the extra work provided and needed up front for that. On top of it, and Tampa Bay have had to adjust to the way Charleston have been pressuring them. You can tell that they've not had as clean of a time dinking the ball around and getting those great combination sequences we're used to seeing from them. Charleston have been closing down the spaces very nicely in the last 15 minutes or so.
Well, it's been very interesting to see as well the battery. I think that Connor Casey tactically told, whether it's Piggott, whether it's Kwakwa, just to always be touch tight with Etsu or Hilton. You can just see Kwakwa or Piggott just following Hilton or Etsu around the field. And as a center midfielder, if you're not on the ball, you can affect the games in different ways. It's just movement, pulling players out of position, leaving a passing lane into that front line. So something to keep an eye out on if you're Neil Collins at halftime. Talking to the center midfielders. You're not going to get the ball in the first 3-4 seconds. Circulate your run, go out wide to open up a passing lane into the feet of Fernandez, into the feet of Guenzati and LaCava.
That last sequence kind of highlighted what you were talking about, Ricky, with Hilton being quickly closed down by Kwakwa. He got it out of his feet, but it led to not much room being there for the likes of Etsu, and then Leo Fernandez ends up giving the ball away. Didn't have enough time to really set his feet. So
it's something tactically that Connor Casey told us, whether it's Piggott or Kwakwa, just stay touch tight, because he knows everything that the Tampa Bay Rowdies do go through those two center midfield, those double pivot behind the three-headed marshal that they have in the front line.
All lofted in for Williams to try to get a head onto it in the penalty area. Not able to do so, but it's recycled for DZ Harmon. Harmon looking for an opening. He runs into too many neon green shirts, and in the end, the Rowdies come away with it. And Sheldon can slow things down for the battery all the way back to Leland Archer and company. Of course, the Rowdies last season dominated the fixture against Charleston in 2021. 4 wins out of 4 against the Battery last season. Charleston got the point in Tampa Bay earlier this season. They want all 3 of them tonight.
That's better rotation from Wyke and Antley. Something that was lacking on that first goal. As Flanagan got in behind the wingback, Mike was quick to recover and close down that space. And Antley's doing that underlapping run to provide cover. Far better movement on that back end for the Rowdies.
Etsu. It's placed out wide. Another chance maybe for some service. Instead, Hilton is found in the middle of the park.
Once again, you can just see Kwakwa touch tight with Etsu. Leaves open the space for LaCava, so you're able to skip that initial look. LaCava's going to have a lot of real estate to get this ball in a half turn.
Guillen is the one that ends up forcing it all the way back to Farreau. Augustine Williams does well there to hold up the play and keep it in. Then he places a beautiful searching ball. Tough to control for Cicero. Runs out of room. He appreciates the great work done there from Augie Williams. Deflected out for a Battery throw. Great individual effort from the Battery striker on that occasion. Stay up to date with everything Charleston Battery by downloading the Battery app today on the App Store or Google Play. Get the latest team news, match day programs, as well as your chance to vote for the man of the match every home game. It's all exclusively on the Battery app. Download, I should say, to your phone or tablet right now. Hartford, by the way, have scored again against FC Tulsa. They lead 3-0 in Connecticut. And since we last updated you, both Indy and Birmingham have scored. 3-1 is the scoreline there. And again, we talked about this earlier, Ricky. That likely will be that for FC Tulsa's playoff hopes. Maybe not quite yet mathematically, but they needed to win against Lou City last time out. They drew. They got a point at home, but they needed to win that Hartford game with Detroit City upcoming on the schedule. That's a big 6-pointer in theory, but now, unless Tulsa pull off a miracle, that game will not mean as much. Booth, by the way, into the middle, and Augie Williams on the doorstep misses another big chance to take the lead for the Battery. Those two again giving the Rowdies trouble, but they couldn't find the finishing touch.
And they're having so much success going around the edges. This time it's on this right-hand side. A good run in from Booth, and Harmon just rolls into the path. It's a slow rotation from Castellanos and Guillen once again. And Williams is going to have nightmares against this one. Just needs to get any sort of contact on it. Good movement from the striker, but just lacking that last bit of quality in and around that 18-yard box. Talk about a dicing ball in from Andrew Booth. Once again, a lot of pace. Just freezes Cochran on his line. Just lacking that final touch.
That's so unlike Augie Williams. 14 goals this season. You'd expect him to score both of those chances. Not able to do so. Don't miss a minute of the action in 2022, whether your club is on the road or at home. Catch nearly every second of the USL Championship action on ESPN+. The home of USL, MLS, La Liga, Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com.
That's like what I alluded to earlier in this first half. Is just a risk that you run playing with a back three. That makes it into a back five. If you leave your back three extremely vulnerable, you have a lot of real estate to operate in. And time after time, it's whether it's Guillen, whether it's Antley getting caught, whether it's 1v1, whether it's too high. That's why you have the clear-cut opportunities for Williams.
About the goal-scoring prowess of the Rowdies. They've now scored 58 goals this season. They're actually closing in on a franchise record for goals in a season. 61, the mark from a few years ago, is still the record, but the amount of games they have left, they're likely going to break that record. But this stat kind of stood out to me, Ricky, and it's coming into play again. For the Rowdies, last 7 games they've played, they've gotten some good results during that time. 1 clean sheet during that run. That's been an issue a little bit of late for Neil Collins' group. A spot early in the season where it was actually a strength for them, even into the middle of those summer months as well. But the last 7, just 1. And obviously now you can make that 1 out of 8, including tonight.
And I'll tell you what, who else is very aware of that stat is Neil Collins.
Yeah.
The former center back for the Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Good
Obviously,
point.
the first look he's going to look at is how many clean sheets have we had when this ball's keeping the ball out of your back of the net. You have a good chance to win. So look for him as playoffs is approaching to right that ship and tweak things in the back.
Rowdies on the attack again here. gonna retake the lead before we get to halftime. Etu from Hilton. Guillen. This is when the Battery been much better in this first half. Hilton. Able to play it out wide. Another opportunity to cross. Wyke wants it in the middle. Wyke across the face of goal. It's held nicely by Hugo Farreau before any further action could occur.
And they can hurt you just so many ways, can't they? This time it's Wyke. Outside right center back coming into underlapping run, beats Sachero. And it's a good idea. Any sort of touch there from Leo Fernandez. Throws off Farreau, but it's a good save from the Battery goalkeeper.
Yeah, Will Antley, who got the assist on the Guenzani opener, put Wyke in a very good position to make something happen there in the end. Farreau was able to read it very nicely indeed.
Just about the system that Neil Collins implemented. On one side, it's LaCava on this left-hand side, who's very 1v1 orientated, that loves to go at players by himself. That's why you see Guillen not getting into the attacking phase as much. Yeah, he has the quality to, but he understands the player in front of him, likes to operate 1v1 around the edges. On the other side, it's the relationship between Antley and Wyke. One stays wide, one comes underneath, vice versa. They're having a lot of success on both sides of the field.
Rowdies on the attack again. Ball is lofted into the outskirts of the penalty area. Harmon ends up letting it run. Did that take a touch off of DZ Harmon? I think Aaron Guillen was asking the question. Well, we've seen almost every emotion from Neil Collins in this first half. I think the Battery, you could argue, have had the better of the first 45 minutes. Ricky, maybe not the first 10, but since then.
You've had the clear-cut opportunities, that's for sure. They've been more threatening on the opposition goal.
Here they come again. Beautifully done by Williams. Nudged off of it by Castellanos, who is frustrated. Thought that Williams went down a little easily there. Referee allows play to continue.
Once again, it's Castellanos coming across. Last-ditch defending effort. He's been very good tonight. Covering his teammates on this back line.
Williams and Booth have been such a good combo for the Battery in this first half. They could have put 3 goals on the board between the two of them. Just the one from Booth at the moment, canceling out Guenzati's 3rd-minute strike. A rare miscue there from LaCava on this near side. Battery will get a throw-in out of it. He's putting some pressure on here, but in the end, Leland Archer does very well to win a free kick. He had 3 or 4 Rowdies players around him. That'll take us into MUSC Health Sports Medicine stoppage time at the end of the first half. 2 added minutes left. This game at 1 goal apiece. Harmon. All the way back to Sheldon. Can one of these two find a late goal at the end of the first half to really change the tide of the match? Sachero. We'll play it centrally for Booth, and that's maybe the only mistake Andrew Booth's made all half. Tried to find Avion Flanagan. Antley does nicely to elude Flanagan's challenge. Trying to switch the field towards LaCava. Backtracking was very good from Sachero, who might have got the worst end of a collision here with LaCava. Both are still down.
And these are always awkward. As you're not looking at the ball, you can just see the hard contact from LaCava Catches Sachero extremely late. It's right between that calf and thigh muscle, but it's good to see both of these boys on their feet, on their own will. I don't think there's any ill will there from LaCava, to be fair. He's going for the ball, but just arrives a bit late.
I was just about to say I'd be surprised if he escaped a yellow card there, Jake LaCava. He hasn't. And his name is into the book at the end of the first half. Another Sphinx Convenience Stores yellow card.
Just to be clear, when there's no ill will, it's still a foul. It's
Right.
still a yellow card.
Good point. Jake LaCava certainly didn't mean to do it, but it is a yellow card.
Yellow card in the 45th minute issued to Tampa Bay's
A little bit of extra time added on for that brief injury stoppage. Castellanos back to Cochran. Williams with those long legs of his nearly got on the end of that. Booth trying to keep it high up the field for Charleston. He slips it through for Flanagan. Flanagan across, Sachero off the bar. Williams saved by Cochran. How close can Charleston get to taking the lead without scoring? They've done it again for a third time. But once again, the Rowdies do just enough. First the bar, then Cochran on the follow-up.
Talk about understanding and pattern play from Flanagan and Sachero. It's so hard for a defensive unit to deal with this ball as everyone's dropping towards their end line. To have the awareness just to cut it back, and Sachero hits it so pure and so clean. And I'll tell you what, if you're Neil Collins, you're happy your halftime has approached. Your back line was under a lot of pressure, had a lot of questions asked of them, and I don't think they had all the answers. That man right there was brilliant for the Charleston Battery. But Tampa Bay Rowdies is very uncharacteristic in the sloppy turnovers that they've had in that back line. If you're able to clean that up, you're going to have a lot of real estate, a lot of success. But give credit to the Charleston Battery. Connor Casey's game plan has been perfect, all to play for the next 45 minutes.
Well, plenty for the Rowdies and their fans to mull over at halftime. Guenzati got Tampa Bay off to the right start inside of 3 minutes. But since then, it's been all Charleston. Booth equalized, and the Battery could have had 3 more after that. At the break, at Patriots Point, 1 each here on ESPN+.
Hey Google, turn up the heat.
You hear all the time about Diamonds Direct's prices and selection and warranties. All true, and all good reasons to give us a visit. But what really sets Diamonds Direct apart is something that's hard to put into words. But you will feel it. You'll know it from the minute you walk in. It's our unique culture, our passion, our genuine and absolute desire to totally revolutionize the way you experience jewelry shopping. It's why we do what we do. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
I remember when I was a little girl and maybe I had a tough day at school. I'd go up the stairs to my room and turn on some music because I knew that the music would make me feel a certain way. And with the help of my life scholarship, I was able to major in music performance and bring that healing quality to others. And I get to help them find whatever it is that they're looking for. I get to be a part of that.
This is your vacation, your beach, your fields of green, skies of blue, mountains of majesty. You're an athlete, you're obsessed, you're in love, you're in pain, spirit drained, in agony, fighting gravity, because you made a commitment to yourself and others to work on your game, build your frame in blazing heat, exhausted and beat. You're not alone. You're supported, pushed, tested, tried, trued, broken, fixed, and put back on track to do it all again. Your road is long, on open highway, completely secluded, jammed with traffic, horns blaring, sirens screaming, speed limit, near misses, head-on collisions, body shops, rest stops, so many tolls to pay. Your destination isn't a place, it's a record, a dance, a feeling. Hands in the air, stands on their feet, joy all around. Because when you refuse to yield, your spirit is revealed. You are an athlete. MUSC Health, Sports Medicine.
Back here at the half at Patriots Point Soccer Stadium, Sean St. Jacques, Ricky Lopez, Espin here with you. Great half from a Battery point of view. They're lucky, I should say unlucky, not to be a couple of goals ahead, but for the time being, it's one each between the Battery and the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Here's what's upcoming for Connor Casey's group. Plenty of opportunities for them to take points off of some of the best teams in the league.
And you're looking at this, you're at Memphis 901. What does this look like? Memphis a top team in this Eastern Conference, but Tampa Bay Rowdies another top team, and they're arguably playing, like we said, miles better. You have RGV, and then you go to Hartford, you go to Indy, you have Loudoun. But if you're Connor Casey, you're looking at the schedule saying, boys, we can win all of these games. We can compete with the best of them if we play like we're playing in this first half.
It's going to be interesting. They could impact the playoff race as well, not only in the East, but in the West as well. And doesn't get any easier for the Rowdies. Detroit City next, then Birmingham, and then a couple of late games, including El Paso and Monterey. Not a cakewalk.
And I'm looking at that Monterey Bay game, just the travel. There you come back, you have Loudoun. Just a lot of games in such short turnaround. You have El Paso at home, you go to California. What does this look like for Neil Collins? But again, if you're Tampa Bay Rowdies, you're trying to pick up as many points at Detroit City. That's going to be Keyworth is going to be popping.
It's going to be a great atmosphere, no question about that. It's been a pretty good atmosphere here as well, to be fair to the fans in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Their team has played very well. Big 45 minutes ahead with Charleston and Tampa Bay knotted at 1.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
trying to take down their rival. The legend has done it again here in Sacramento. He's turned the whole game around.
It's a goal for Orange County SC and their first of the season.
And that's full time. The old guard with a new trophy. Orange County wins the USL Championship final.
One apiece between Charleston and Tampa Bay at the half. Plenty of work for Neil Collins' group to look over during this halftime interval. And Connor Casey's hoping for the same in the second half. Maybe a few more conversions in the final third. Ricky, let's take a look at news and notes from around the league. Obviously, everyone's talking about the Jacksonville prospects for 2025 in the USL Championship. But a tip of the cap to Sac Republic, a valiant effort in the final. Orlando City were just too much for them.
And it's not easy going to Exploria Stadium. 26,000 people against them. If you're Sacramento Republic and Mark Briggs, you have to be extremely proud of what you've done in this Open Cup. No one really had you going to the final. You proved everyone wrong. You came together, and it was a tremendous showing for the USL Championship.
And of course, you can vote for August's top player of the month. USLChampionship.com as always. You can always vote for goals of the week as well, saves of the week. We may have had one from CJ Cochran in this game tonight. Take a look at halftime scoreboard from around the league, and out-of-town scoreboards are brought to you by Breeze Airways and the Charleston International Airport. No score between Pittsburgh and Lou City. That's probably the biggest one that jumps off the page, while Indy and Hartford, for the time being, are rolling at home.
And Mark Lowry is really turning things around in the 11. As of late, a team that's been, the talent that he has at his disposal is really coming to fruition. Hartford Athletic taking care of FC Tulsa. If you're FC Tulsa, it's an opportunity that's slipping through your fingers. And now look down, Sacramento Republic back at home in Hart Health Park, and they're welcome, loud, and united. So what's the response look like from Mark Briggs and his boys?
It's a great slate in the West tonight, so stick around after our games are over in the Eastern Conference. Let's take a look at the Eastern Conference standings as well. This game's big for the Rowdies because they're trying to catch Memphis for the time being and try to get back into that 2 spot. And again, if Pittsburgh takes care of business, the 1 seed opens up a little bit, with Lou City being more vulnerable.
Just so much to play for all of these teams, the Rowdies. And you look down, something we talked about, FC Tulsa, the gap is going to widen against if Detroit City is able to pick up points against Colorado Springs. But it's just so tight, and it's crazy. We keep talking about it, Sean, that yes, we have 4 teams that are clinched, but there's only 1 in the Western Conference that is clinched. That's insane.
It really is remarkable how the season has played out. And again, still plenty of games left to change how the table looks in the East and in the West, including this one. Good start for Charleston. Can they keep it going against the defending Eastern Conference champions in the second half? We'll see next.
You need more layers, diagonal layers.
I got it, Ron. Thanks.
Leave him alone, Dad. Oh, honey, you should use ice blocks instead of cubes.
No, Bud Light Seltzer goes on top.
Diagonal layers.
Did you pre-chill the Bud Light lemonades?
Need more ice. And diagonal layers.
I mean, if you're gonna do it right.
I don't need my hands getting cold.
Why don't you try using the Plumsky method? Brings out the citrus notes. Dad?
Gotta crush the ice, son.
Okay, I'm out.
What's his problem?
Whenever packing the cooler really matters, there's a Bud Light there.
Hey Google, turn up the heat.
Charleston is a water town.
Being on the water is part of the lifestyle here. Whether you're fishing or boating, you've got so many family-friendly activities.
There are so many spots to go, from beaches to the marsh. Nature is a big reason why people actually come here.
It's absolutely breathtaking.
In any season, you can find your paradise, really.
So how is it?
Great.
Tonight's match is brought to you by Hendrick Volvo Cars of Charleston. At Hendrick Volvo, you can shop the new 2022 lineup of Volvo and know your car is in good hands with their award-winning service. Hendrick Volvo Cars of Charleston is truly the one-stop shop for all things Volvo in the Low Country. Let's jump into the halftime highlights between Charleston Battery and Tampa Bay Rowdies. We start with Sebastian Guenzati, who scored his 60th goal for the club, tying him for the Rowdies' all-time club record and really getting him back on track this season.
And just about the movement, playing off the shoulder of the opposition, getting in the soft spot, and then it's a striker's header to open up the score. And you thought it was going to be all rainbow and sunshine for the Rowdies. But Charleston Battery's reaction was spot on. If you're Connor Casey, it was all about the next 10-15 minutes for your boys. And Andrew Booth was at the thick of everything.
And the Rowdies would have more troubles defensively with the likes of Booth and Williams, but Charleston never got the chance to take the lead. This was a tremendous save from Cochran.
And they had really good looks, especially Augie Williams, not once but twice. He's going to want to find the back of the net, just not be a bit more clinical, something that we've come to expect with 14 goals on the year, and then this one, he's going to have nightmares about this. Talk about a brilliant ball in from Andrew Booth, just out of this reach of Cochran. And at the end of this, the way that Connor Casey goes into halftime tied is going to be a big head scratcher for him. The movement from Flanagan on the back end, and then Sachero hits this just so pure. It's far behind his left leg. You can just see how he comes around it, hits it with technique, doesn't swing too much at it. The momentum does it, and then Williams is there once again, denied by Cochran. He's been so active, and if you're the Charleston Battery, you've done everything to perfection. Your game plan, you've taken out Etsu, you've taken out Hilton of this game, haven't really given Tampa Bay Rowdies any sort of rhythm. But the only thing that's lacking is that final touch, that final action to put the ball in the back of the net.
The Heineken halftime stats tend to highlight that as well. 9 shots to 3 in favor of Charleston, 3 shots to 2 on target, and those 2 big missed opportunities from Augie Williams and a big one from Mauro Sachero as well. Have it at a stalemate at the moment. I think Connor Casey will be encouraged by what he saw in the first half and would feel his team should have scored at least 2 or 3 more, potentially, the way they played. The Rowdies got off to the dream start, and again needing to fix some things defensively at the half. No halftime changes for either side. Charleston from right to left get us underway in the second half. This game knotted up at 1 apiece. And again, we mentioned it just there during the halftime break. Now 60 goals for Sebastian Guenzati. As a member of the Rowdies, 1 more, he would have the record all to himself for goals scored for the franchise in its history. So keep an eye on that in the second half. The first thing, Ricky, I'm sure you're looking at is defensively, how are the Rowdies going to adjust?
You can look already, they switched to a back 4. 4-2-3-1, the back 3 was not working. Too many players getting caught in position, so it's going to be White, it's going to be Scarlett, Castellanos, and Guillen in that back 4. The 2 players sitting will be Etsu and Hilton. Antley's going to push up. Fernandez is going to drop in, and it's LaCava underneath Guenzati.
Booth, who was tremendous in the first half. Ball's lofted in for Williams. That was a crucial touch defensively. I think in the end the flag might have gone up there against Augustine Williams, and it did. Offside is given, and it ends the sequence after another good attacking foray forward from the Charleston Battery.
And just going into a back 4 just makes life more compact. Not too much space, not leaving players vulnerable, not leaving players 1v1 isolated defending-wise. That's where the Charleston Battery had their most success. Whether it was Flanagan with his movement, DC Harmon had his way with Guillen in that first half. So good tactical change from Neil Collins.
Booth, after the nice run by Avion Flanagan to open it up for him a little bit initially. Patterson. It's all the way back to Leland Archer. He set for Hugo Farreau. Did come up with a couple of stops himself in the first half.
Now when you look on this end, if you're the Charleston Battery and Connor Casey, the emphasis is on Sachero and Booth. How effective can they be in their movement to play off the shoulders of Etsu and Hilton in between those lines? You get those guys chasing backwards, you're going to have a lot of real estate for Augustine Williams to occupy the center back pairing of the Rowdies. Now it's just a different look for the Charleston Battery and how they attack this offensive shape of the Rowdies.
Newest and nicest airline to take the skies is proud to call Charleston home and support the Battery. Check out Breeze Airways today for an accessible and genuinely nice experience for everyone, with flights to over 20 destinations across the U.S. nonstop from Charleston International Airport, while offering low fares and flexible booking on their point-to-point network. That's Breeze Airways. That's seriously nice. Sean St. Jacques, Ricky Lopez, Espin here with you. Rowdies have eyes on the top spot in the Eastern Conference playoffs, but work to do for them against the Charleston Battery in this second half. Antley on the near side. And he's offside, it appears. Assistant referee didn't hesitate. Antley, who had a really good first half, got the assist on the Guenzati opening goal. Didn't quite time that up right for Neil Collins' group. Finished 1-1 back in June when these two met. It was in Tampa Bay at Al Lang. Charleston trying to get their first win over Tampa Bay in a few years. In the 2021 season, the Rowdies won all 4 of the meetings. It's beautiful work again to get into the penalty area on that far side. Deflected out in the end for a goal kick as the Rowdies do a much better job that time closing the gap.
That's where you want DZ Harmon with a lot of space, 1v1, isolating this defender. And if you're the Charleston Battery, you're going to have the most success when you move this ball from left to right and you change your point of attack quickly. A 4-2-3-1 for the Rowdies. They want to squeeze and congest the side towards the sideline. So you have the ability to pick up at your head, put this ball on a dime over 50, 60 yards. You're going to have a lot of space on the opposite side to operate in.
Booth. In the middle of the park, Suchero. Challenge was fair, says the referee. Play continues all the way back to Farrow. Antley picks off the outlet pass. Fernandez brought down by Piggott. And Piggott is booked for the challenge. Sphinx Convenience Store's yellow card. We'll take another look at the replay.
He was never going to get to the ball, was he, Piggott? As he comes in late, it's a good idea battling for it. But Fernandez knows what he's doing, gets the body position, and when he feels any sort of contact, he's always going to ride that challenge and go down. The referee sees it's from behind. That's why Piggott sees yellow. He needs to be extremely careful now in his positioning, the challenges that he goes into, because there's no need to pick up a silly second yellow here.
White, the short free kick. Charleston deal with it rather easily. Clear it out for a throw just beyond Connor Casey's touchline.
As we talk about this tactical shift from the Rowdies, it's a big emphasis defensively for Piggott and Kwakwa. They have to deal with the number 10 now, which is Leo Fernandez, playing off their shoulder. In that first half, everything was in front of them between Etsu and Hilton. So now what's their position look like defensively to play that support system in that for their back line?
Another foul and a free kick and a yellow card given there on the challenge. So that is going to be Etsu. Junior Etsu booked for that. Sphinx Convenience Store's yellow just like that. This time Suchero. Wasn't for that one, it was for the second.
He just comes in late there from DZ Harmon. Just like Piggott, needs to be careful now. The challenge that he goes into. Number 1. Your center midfielder to get a yellow so early in this match. 53 minutes in.
Etsu and LaCava are on yellows for Tampa Bay. Piggott and Suchero as well for Charleston, so we'll keep an eye on that. Booth just runs out of room, tried to get into some space to open things up maybe for Williams in the end, but Tampa Bay have enough men behind the ball to deal with it. talked about it. 57 goals coming into the night, now 58 for Tampa Bay, second best in the league. 3 more would tie the 2019 franchise record, 61 goals, but hey, it's really been so far about the Charleston Battery, especially in the last 40 minutes of game time, roughly. Antley making sure there's no space there for Avion Flanagan to work with, and does well defensively that time. As Neil Collins continues to mull it over with his coaching staff. Tampa Bay have clinched the playoffs for the for the 4th straight season. Trying to get to the East's top seed. It's a team that's also been to 2 straight USL Championship finals. Of course, the 2020 final against Phoenix that was never played due to COVID, of course, and then the heartbreak of losing at home to Orange County in the final last season. Time you lose a final at home, it's always a heartbreaking moment, and Tampa Bay have tried to rectify that this season as Antley gets it into the middle. Advantage is played, and LaCava skies it. What a chance for Tampa Bay, the best passage of play we've seen from them in quite some time tonight. They can't hit the target.
But how good is this from Hilton? Miss hit in the back from Sheldon, and Hilton is all over it, but they're able to shift this ball to his left foot to elude A.J. Patterson is top class. And then it's all about composure here from Antley to cut this ball back. Like we saw at that last play in the first half, it's so hard to deal with. And LaCava's first touch rises up on him, doesn't have the composure to put his head over the ball, and it rises above the crossbar. Here Charleston Battery able to take a deep breath now. Just eluded really dangerous situation from LaCava. You expect a player with 11 goals on the year, he's going to find the back of the net from that distance.
Both teams having trouble scoring on that end of the pitch at the moment. Piggott for Charleston has Flanagan off to his left. Piggott finally slides it into him. Oh, and Avion Flanagan trying to chop it past Wyke, who was all over it, and finds Antley. Ball floated forward. It's dealt with defensively. Charleston regained possession. As we hear the Tampa Bay contingent again making some noise here on the road. They'll support their boys. The Rowdies, we've seen a little bit better from them here the last 5 minutes, especially the last few sequences. There's one back defensively by Scarlett. Tampa Bay trying to get in behind again. LaCava tripped off the ball. Play's allowed to continue in the end. I think everyone was just kind of looking at each other there for a second, including the referee. The referee was like, what are you looking at me for? Play on.
This feels a bit more stable. The Rowdies now defensively. They changed into that back four. The roles are more defined. There's not so much space between lines. Players getting pulled out of position. Like I said in that first half, if you're Piggott, if you're Kwakwa, you move out of the way. Let the ball go straight into the feet of Augie Williams, who's so good at checking back in, and then make your secondary movement. It's better here from Andrew Booth. Creating your own space is something, as you're playing in the middle of the park, so critical for yourself. It's a change of angle, doesn't need to be much, but 2-3 yards. Have your hips open when you receive the ball. Just changes your line of vision.
Sheldon floats it forward. Just headed out of harm's way for the time being. Rowdies have a throw. This is Wyke. Space to run into, slotting it for Antley. Well read by Avion Flanagan, but he gives it back. Lawrence Wyke right back to Antley. And Flanagan's there again to block it out for a corner. Well, a nervy moment there from Avion Flanagan. Rowdies given a second opportunity here with a set piece.
He does well to recover, Avion Flanagan.
Yeah.
He's been 59 minutes in. I think he's been fantastic on this left-hand side, creating all sorts of problems. And a nice little battle they have going on between him and Antley on this right-hand side.
Corner taken short to Hilton. Oh, whipped in by, I think that was Fernandez, headed back into the middle. Charleston don't clear it, and Lewis Hilton, not a bad effort from the edge of the penalty area, but it was always rising. And it goes out of play for a goal kick. Good chance for the Rowdies to regain the lead, and it'll lead to the first substitution of the night. Junior Etu is on the yellow card. He will be taken out, and we will get to see Jan Ekra come on and try and change the tide of this game from a Tampa Bay point of view.
A player that's very comfortable slotting in right next to Lewis Hilton, and like for like say change for Neil Collins. Etu was good, very active.
Substitution tonight brought to you by Home Team Barbecue, and Jan Ekra seems like he's always such a big part of what Tampa Bay wants to do night in and night out. Now he's got some fresh legs as well. That'll always put in a hard shift. Has half an hour to help Tampa Bay retake the lead as Lewis Hilton wins that back for Guenzotti. Chipping it right over for Ekra, back into the middle. LaCava couldn't control it. I think even he couldn't believe that he missed that. And Charleston clear it. What a chance that could have been if LaCava just gets a touch onto that. And Tampa Bay have to recycle it.
And what it does for Tampa Bay, bring in Jan Ekra, is going to play as a true number 10. He's going to shift out Antley to this back line, and Wyke is going to slot in next to Hilton. Leo Fernandez is going to be your winger, your right winger. Ekra, your number 10. Your left winger is LaCava, and then spearheading the attack is going to be Guenzotti.
The reigning title holders visit in-state rivals. The USL on ESPN2 continues. Orange County looks for a late season surge against Sac Republic. Sunday, September 18th, 5 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Well, it's worth reiterating, Ricky, we talked about it at halftime. The Eastern Conference race is great. Make no mistake about it. It's going to be tremendous down the stretch. But the West, only one team has clinched a playoff spot. That's San Antonio, who are in the lead for the top spot in the entire playoffs. No other spots, at least going into the night, have been clinched. And every team is still mathematically alive to get into the playoffs, including the defending champions, Orange County. It's truly remarkable.
The wild, wild West.
You said it. Crazy stuff, and it's going to continue tonight. Stay on ESPN+. There's plenty of Western Conference action. I was going to say, with plenty of playoff hopefuls in form tonight, but everyone's in still. Everyone's still in it with a chance. Every game matters, especially in the West down the stretch.
And if you're Connor Casey alluding to this match,
yeah,
you need Andrew Booth to get more involved. Where that was just at the thick of everything in that first half, is not finding those pockets that we saw. And again, it's that 4-2-3-1 that Neil Collins has shifted into. The movement, the spacing, it's just so critical for the front three, Sachero, Williams, because yes, they want to play together. They want to play close so they can combine. They also don't want to play too close that they're clogging each other's space. So as one occupies the center backs, maybe one shifts out wide and one stays a bit central and withdrawn. You have to understand the relationship and the spacing between those three that haven't been the same that we saw in the first half for Connor Casey's boys.
Flanagan keeps it in for Booth, who's forced all the way back to Patterson with Enoch Kwakwa in the middle. Quick update as well, no goals yet in the second half in any of the other three games as well. Still 0-0 between Pittsburgh and Lou City, Indy and Hartford, leading by 3-1 and 3-0 respectively against Birmingham and Tulsa, respectively. Been a good game for Lewis Hilton. He's just stretching out his right leg at the moment, and Enoch Kwakwa is down here. He's got to put his left boot back on, just looking at something there. Well, in our match, we had 2 goals in the first 21 minutes. Guenzati scored inside of 3 minutes, and then Andrew Booth equalized in the 21st. Charleston dominated the rest of the first half. They've had moments again in the second half. The Rowdies have had the better chances in the second half so far, but the score remains unchanged. Couple of substitutions getting ready here for the Battery. Looks like Robbie Crawford, he's getting set to come on. Leads the team with 5 assists this season. Cicero, he's going to come off, and it looks like Enoch Kwakwa will leave us as well. Aiden Apodaca is going to be the second substitution to come on, so a double change for Connor Casey. Again, it's Kwakwa and Cicero out. Apodaca and Crawford in for the hosts.
And Cicero faded a bit in the second half. Was on the ball, was very involved in that first half, just with the matter of movement, taking position centrally as Williams shifted out. We'll see what Apodaca can do. A player that is very clever in his movement, can stretch the back line, can come to feet. You're going to want him to run in behind, test the shape of the Tampa Bay Rowdies, which is going to leave space for Archie Williams to drop in and want the ball to feet. And you bring Robbie Crawford, talked about him with Connor Casey earlier this week, saying,
oh, meanwhile, Apodaca right in for Booth, and he scores! Right from the restart, the substitute Apodaca finds Booth in behind. A brace for Andrew Booth. Charleston have turned it around at Patriots Point. They were 1-0 down within 3 minutes. They're 2-1 up, just like that in the second half. And Andrew Booth now has 3 goals this season. He entered the night with just 1.
And I'm talking about spacing in that front 3. Being close enough to work together, but not close enough clogging each other's space. As this ball comes in to Williams, look at the movement on the back end from Andrew Booth, splitting this back line of the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and then it's all about composure once he's in that final third to get his brace on the night right through the legs of Cochran. Brilliant worked goal for Connor Casey and the Battery as they go up a goal in the second half.
Dazzling play brought to you by Diamonds Direct. What a night for Andrew Booth. 2 goals tonight. He'd only scored 1 all season. And what an upset we could have on our hands here in South Carolina. The Rowdies had the dream start. The Battery have battled back to take the lead for the first time tonight. And the Booth brace has Connor Casey's boys in the box seat in the second half. And Tampa Bay, what a blow it could be potentially for their chances at the 1 seed if it holds like this. But there's still time. Leo Fernandez, centering pass for Hilton. Antley recycling it. Avion Flanagan doing the defensive work all night long on this near side. Wins a free kick. The Battery have a brand new look on and off the field this year thanks to Hummel, club's newest team apparel provider. Check out the full line of new Battery gear, including the custom 2022 home, away, and alternate kits by visiting shop.charlestonbattery.com. Well, this has been a great team performance. Obviously, Andrew Booth will get the headline so far with his 2 goals, but really from top to bottom, and this has been happening the last few weeks for Connor Casey's group. They can see out the last 20 minutes. What a cherry on top of it would be. Castellanos sending it all the way back, and the Rowdies have 20 minutes to try and come from behind themselves. It's certainly a result that Lou City and Memphis will be very happy with if it stays like this.
And 3 keys that Connor Casey gave you in our conversation earlier this week was just 1, score back-to-back goals, mission accomplished there.
Ooh, Tampa Bay could be in behind here. Referee has a look at the challenge, gave a good, long, hard look at it. Guenzati not fouled in the end. And Farrow comes up with it. We get another look at it.
It's a hard challenge from A.J. Patterson in the initial movement. I don't think there's much there, looking for that PK. As Guenzati comes across. Going back to our conversation with Connor Casey, said Sue is trying to get a clean sheet. And we see not ideal there, letting a goal in the first 5 minutes. He said, talking about the last one, was just about pure will, pure effort. Looking at our metrics, numbers, how much running are we doing? Are we first at every single ball? Matter of effort and working hard. And so far, 70 minutes in, I have to agree with him. I think this Charleston Battery team has seemed like they've wanted it more. Going into hard challenges, working together, not leading teammates out to dry, especially in the defensive half. You look at the shift that Flanagan has put in, DZ Harmon as well. It's a big challenge when you're playing wing backs in any sort of system. The ability to get into the attack, but also do your defensive duties. The job is not done. You have to know how talented this Rowdy side is, can turn this game around in a matter of minutes.
Well, it's how this league can be sometimes. The Rowdies scored 6 against Vegas last time out. And at times in this game, it's felt like they've run into a wall offensively. But Charleston take nothing away from them. Have been tremendous tonight. That's a misplaced pass. A chance for Aiden Apodaca. Across for Williams. Goal kick. Battery were briefly looking for a penalty at the tail end. Luis Arroyo says no, and another chance for the Battery goes begging.
But it's just so uncharacteristic here from White. And I think every Aiden Apodaca, you have to be selfish here. 1v1 with the goalkeeper, yes. Castellanos is coming across. You put Williams in a really difficult situation. Yes, Williams should hit the target from there, but the substitute needs to be a bit more selfish and have an opportunity on goal there.
You saw there Jake LaCava was taken off for Sebastian Dalgard. It's one of 3 home team barbecue changes upcoming. Antley's going to come off for Steven Dos Santos. And on top of that, Deon Harris is going to come on, and Leo Fernandez is going to come off. So 3 changes in the end. LaCava, Fernandez, and Antley come off. Deon Harris, Dalgard, and Dos Santos all come on. But the Battery win it back again. Williams had so many spurned opportunities tonight. Tried one from an ambitious distance. Apologizing to multiple teammates who he maybe could have picked out. In the end, it goes over the top.
Just not clicking so far in this match for Augie Williams. But you love to see a player like a striker like him just to keep going. Time and time again, we see strikers that miss 2 sitters, that don't have the courage to go to take another opportunity. But it's always the most important is the next play as a striker. And that's something that Connor Casey talked about, saying that, look, he's eager to learn. His attitude is perfected. It's gone so much better, never giving up, and just a work ethic. And we've seen it on display tonight, even though the ball has not been hitting the back of the net. And it's a very hard challenge from Castellanos coming on Aiden Apodaca.
And Castellanos, it's a Sphinx Convenience Store's yellow card for the defender. Right after, Neil Collins made a triple change, by the way, as well. Ooh, actually, it's the high boot from Jan Ekra in there as well. That was very dangerous from the midfielder. Another one of those as we go into the Recover 180 hydro break here, where that looked like Jan Ekra could have been certainly at least booked for that. It was really a double challenge between the two in the end, but that was very high, where it gets dangerously close from yellow turning into red, Ricky.
And I think the push from Castellanos makes a contact with Apodaca, like you alluded to, Sean. It is a high boot from Ekra. But since coming on, Apodaca has been fantastic.
Let's recap the game so far. Feels like forever ago, Tampa Bay got off to the brilliant start. Guenzati tying the franchise goals record.
I mean, looking at this back line, no one's stepping out to confront White, and then it's a very easy ball across with no pressure from Mantley, and then Guenzati giving him that time and space in the 18-yard box is going to make you pay. The reaction from the Charleston Battery, the attitude has been fantastic. Andrew Booth has been man of the match, maybe, question mark, I would say, as the ball pops out. Makes it look a lot easier than it is. Strike very clean, hits the back of the net, and then look how fluid it is, up, back, and through, as Williams puts his ball back to the substitute Apodaca. Oncoming run from Booth, and then it's the ball of composure, about quality coming to fruition. See what it means for the Battery.
And Apodaca had just come on. I think that was his first touch off the bench. Gets an assist to Andrew Booth, who has been the star tonight. Well, fans, it is time to vote for the Heineken Man of the Match. Download the Charleston Battery app or go to Twitter to cast your vote for the Heineken Man of the Match. We put a question mark just then next to Andrew Booth's name.
That's my vote.
It's up to you at home. I might agree with you right now, Ricky. We have some time left.
We do,
but
we do.
Right now, I think he's the leader in the clubhouse. Offside flag is up against the Rowdies here, and Ricky, I've got an update for you from Indy Birmingham Legion. Indy were 3-1 up. Birmingham Legion have come back to tie it 3-3 with 72 minutes on the clock. Unbelievable. How about that? Could be damaging for Indy 11's mathematically alive playoff hopes, and I'm sure teams like Miami and Pittsburgh are not going to like to hear that. Still 3-0 Hartford. Pittsburgh lose City. 15 minutes left at Highmark. No score in that game. And of course, the 1 versus 2 matchup in the West, San Antonio, San Diego is underway. RGV, New Mexico. They just kicked off. No score early stages in those 2 games. And here an upset brewing at Patriots Point. Charleston Battery trying to knock off the defending Eastern Conference champions and hurt their hopes at the #1 seed in the East. in the process. Can't say they haven't deserved it. Charleston, so far, they have definitely been the better team on the balance of it. And sometimes at this point in the season, you know, some teams are banged up, there's squad rotation. This is legit. This is a Charleston Battery team taking on the best the Rowdies have to offer and being the better team. And looking for more. Piggott started it, Apodaca dispossessed. Hilton comes out with it after great defensive work on that back line by, actually, I beg your pardon, I think that was Scarlett defensively did really well. Now the Rowdies trying to find an equalizer. Wyke threading it through nicely for Dos Santos, and the flag was up. Dos Santos disagrees. It wouldn't have mattered, to be fair, for Rowe off his line made the save. The attack fizzles out.
And now tactically for the Rowdies.
Tough to tell from that angle.
There.
That's tight.
It is tight. There's a tactically challenge now for the Rowdies, excuse me, for the Battery. As Dos Santos comes into this game, you have Guanzati and Dos Santos on the front line for the Rowdies. So now it's a 3v2 matchup. And that being said, you need to be extremely point on with your position, your communication, passing players on. If you're the Tampa Bay Rowdies, that play right there is what you want. Someone coming to feet, someone stretching, testing the shape of the back three. It's going to be massive for the Rowdies to try to claw themselves back into this game. Just the movement, the relationship with that front two.
This is Harris. It's a nice little give and go with White, but Piggott is nicely defensively to backtrack and end the attack for now. Hilton. White again, held up by Avion Flanagan. Jan Ekra. Guillen did not keep it in. I was gonna say it was a couple of Charleston players waiting for the decision there. Goes their way.
Again, just very uncharacteristic from Ekra. Just puts too much on this ball. Unforced turnover once again for the Rowdies.
Piggott is still down here for the Battery in the meantime. And will be attended to with about 9 minutes left of the 90. The race tonight for Andrew Booth has Charleston in front after Sebastian Guanzati opened the scoring, and Charleston are signaling here for a substitution to be made. That looks to be the end of the night for Romario Piggott. We're told Dominic Oduro is getting ready to replace him. And that's a tough blow for Connor Casey's group to take. And it's had a great night defensively, in particular Romario Piggott. And we'll see Dominic Oduro come on in just a moment to replace him. And we hope it's nothing serious.
Does so much defensively. Like you just mentioned, Sean. Clogging passing lanes, hard in the challenge, frustrating the opposition. Won't show up on the stat sheet. Just the amount of running he does as well. It's critical for Connor Casey in that defensive position.
Home team barbecue change confirmed. Oduro for Piggott on the injury substitution. It does look like that Tampa Bay will add Kyle Gregg into the mix as well. Castellanos exits. And that is a Neil Collins all-in substitution right there to try to get this game back to the way of Tampa Bay. Home team barbecue change. Gregg, an all-out attacker for a defender.
Substitution for the Battery brought to you by Home Team Barbecue.
Tampa Bay back on the attack with Ekra. Ball into the middle, looking for Greg. It's cleared out for a Rowdies throw.
You start to see a lot of this for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, committing a lot of numbers into that box. The quality that they have, and just drop dimes in with the service is going to be key. Looking at Harris, looking at Dalgard.
Ooh, miscommunication there briefly, but Farrow was the one ready for it. And comes to collect. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesday nights at 7 Eastern. Plus your live matches from the USL, MLS, English Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the SXM app. Deon Harris with green grass in front of him. Caught out at the vital moment, but it's brought back for a free kick for the initial challenge. Connor Casey can't believe it. It's going to be a chance for the Rowdies from a pretty good position, as now Farrow is a little slow to get up here. Taking another look at the last sequence off the good run from the substitute, Deon Harris.
And I just think it's this arm from Flanagan catching Harris on his left-hand side. Like I mentioned early in this first half, whenever you have the extension and it's clear, always running the risk of calling a foul here. Now it's a good opportunity for the Rowdies. Outside the 18-yard box to test that man who's slow to get up.
MUSC Health Sports Medicine is the official healthcare providers for the Charleston Battery. You can find them online at MUSC
Daniel Kuzemka is the backup goalkeeper tonight for Charleston. He would be who would come on. He's getting ready, just like that. Well, you rarely see this, a goalkeeper having to be substituted on this late, but Farrow looks like for the time being, he's going to continue. He's certainly getting the wall in position, and keep an eye on Farrow, number 30 in blue. Actually, he might have tripped on the grass a little bit. Hilton, by the way, into the middle. No trouble for Farrow there on the punch. Ekra recycles. And Tampa Bay get it back into the penalty area. Running out of time here, the Rowdies. Hilton chipping it into the middle. Dos Santos leaves it. Good shot saved in the end. Dalgard shot. He tries again, and it's saved by Farrow again. The substitute, Sebastian Dalgard, gets 2 bites at the apple, but can't score it.
Looks like a man that just did not go down. Farrow, massive save there, and then just to get up and have a reaction to grab that one in securely. And for Dalgard, one opportunity that is, you hit it, you do everything right on that first opportunity, but on the second one, if you're able to pull it back, you chip it to the back post, and give your teammate the chance. But nonetheless, massive save from Hugo Farrow.
Guenzati, who opened the scoring back in the 3rd minute. Hilton just recovers the first touch before Robbie Crawford could get there. And then miscommunication on the far side. Turns the ball back over to the Battery with 3 minutes of the 90 left.
Something you're going to start to see a lot as the Charleston Battery is trying to protect this lead. They're going to start dropping in, and it's going to be Hilton that's going to get on the ball a lot more in this half spaces. What I mean by half spaces, not all the way out to the sideline, but between the middle and the sideline is where he's going to pick up the ball. He's going to start dumping balls in.
Meanwhile, substitution for Charleston, Avion Flanagan. Great night for him as well. Puts in a good shift. Comes off, and the home team barbecue sub. We'll see Patrick Hogan come on to try and help the back line see out what would be arguably the best result the Battery have had this season. Trying to pick up their 6th win and be 5 out of 6 of their wins coming here in South Carolina if they can see out these last few minutes.
Now your back three is going to be A.J. Patterson, Patrick Hogan, and Leland Archer. It's going to shift out Sheldon to this left wing back position. D.C. Harmon plays at the right wing back position. Just a lot of size, a lot of physical presence, aerial presence, as Connor Casey's boys are expecting the Rowdies to commit a lot of numbers with there's 2 minutes plus in this match.
Pressure from Kyle Gregg forces the turnover. Harris quickly puts it back into the field of play. Can Tampa Bay find an equalizer? Dos Santos. Dalgard. Still Dalgard! And Farrow somehow gets a hand to it off the deflection. Out for a corner, nearly snuck in at the post. Tampa Bay will hurry to take the corner. How big could that save turn out to be? Hilton on the set piece. Rowdies looking to find a leveler in the 90th minute. Hilton lofting it in, and Farrow is there again. 2 massive plays from the Battery goalkeeper.
Dalgard has been fantastic since coming on. Little interchange between him and Dos Santos. What another big time save from Farrow. He goes down extremely quick down to his right-hand side. And then this one, as a goalkeeper, you always want to be decisive. You come off your line, make sure you make contact with the ball. It's been fantastic in the second half for Rowe.
And then Cochran called upon at the other end. And take a look at the top of the screen there. 7 added minutes still to go. Anything can still happen. Dos Santos stays onside, looking for Gregg. It's not cleared. And another big block when Zadi denied on the follow-up. Wyke back into the middle, headed out for a corner. The Battery throwing bodies at everything. Somehow keeping the Rowdies out.
Last-ditch defending effort here. A.J. Patterson doesn't clean it, hit it clearly enough, but then give credit to Hogan as he comes across. Big body to help out his goalkeeper. And A.J. Patterson, once again, terrific recovery to head it out for a corner kick.
More defending to be done. Hilton's ball in to the near post. It's just about dealt with. Augustine Williams takes no chances. Charleston gets through the first added minute of 7. Could be a long 6 minutes here. Wyke picks his head up, has Harris ahead of him. Harris's ball in towards the back post. It's flicked on and out of trouble before Dalgard could get on the end of it. Now Ekra. Still Dalgard after he nearly lost it. Dos Santos shoots through a sea of legs, and beg your pardon, Hugo Farrow somersaults for the cameras there, knew it was going wide. Out for a goal kick.
And something to keep an eye out on if you're the Charleston Battery. There's just a movement of Robert Crawford. The second time he's gotten pulled out of position. Yes, he's trying to help his teammates, but if there's a man up, if there's already an extra man coming out to help out a teammate, you don't need to make that run over. You want to stay centrally because you see Dos Santos having that space on top of that 18-yard box. And more times often than not, he's going to put it on target. So if Robert Crawford or Duro, stay centrally. Only go over if you need to help out.
Yellow card and extra time issued to Charleston Battery's number 30, Hugo Farrow.
And Farrow was just booked for time wasting, it looks like. Gets it down the field. Charleston will hold on to it for the time being, doing everything they can to try and take some time off the clock. One last scoreboard update for you. No score still in the 90th minute. Pittsburgh, Lou City. Indy have taken the lead again, 4-3 over Birmingham Legion. What a seesaw game at the mic that has been.
Wow.
Crazy night already in the USL Championship. Now Booth laying it off, and Charleston with a chance to seal the upset. Couldn't find an opportunity to strike for goal. Booth trying to put the cherry on top of a memorable night for him. Now Williams trying to just hold up the play, regain possession, wins a throw-in. Connor Casey and the staff in no hurry to get the ball back in play. Connor Casey looked at the ball as if he didn't recognize it on the sideline there. Williams dispossessed. Scarlett has to reset the play. Charleston just about gotten through 4 minutes of the 7. The Rowdies still have time for maybe one more chance. Harris dispossessed. Falls for Wyke. Places the ball down the line for Harris. Does very nicely to keep it in, Harris. Into the penalty area he goes. Foul on the follow-through by Harris. Flea kick to the Battery.
Brilliant work from A.J. Patterson just to come across and give Sheldon that cover. And Sheldon gets beat by Harris. He just comes across that heavy touch and realizes it, and then he feels any contact, he's always going to go down. Veteran move with a lot of experience in this league, that man right there.
This is a little bit of irony, but Lou City drawing actually would add a point on to their advantage over the Rowdies. They drop points, but they would still add a point to the lead. This result is also music to the ears of Memphis 901 FC as well. This was Tampa Bay's big chance to get ahead of them again. Memphis, for the time being, will stay in second place. Flag is up against Kyle Gregg. Still a minute and a half left for Tampa Bay to change that narrative. They are running short on time here at Patriots Point. We talked about this earlier, Ricky, but Charleston, again, they've had nothing to play for the last few weeks. Connor Casey's told us it's about confidence, it's about the team, it's about fighting for not only your individual careers, but for the club and for the group. This would be the cherry on top of that Sunday against the defending Eastern Conference champions. The spoiler role that he's hoped his team would play down the stretch this season. They've already gone to Pittsburgh, they've gotten a point, they've given other teams troubles. This would be a heck of a result for them and a pretty big upset.
Just to do it in front of your home faithful as well. Give them reason to get behind this team. Yes, results have been hard to come by. He's been the best in terms of performances, and they know that. But just the ability to, so late in the season, a team that essentially is always fighting for a title at the end of the year, and just be better than them through and through from minute 1 to minute, approaching minute 97 right now.
One last moment to defend for the Battery, headed out by Sheldon. Hilton for Harris, in for Wyke. Wyke across the face, Charleston clear it. Referee has a peek at his watch. Connor Casey knows that the 7 minutes of added time are up. There was some time wasting from the Charleston Battery. Ball into the middle is headed away by Hogan, helped on, and that is it. The Charleston Battery pull off the upset. They knock off the defending Eastern Conference champion Rowdies, halt their chances of getting the top seed in the East for this season's playoffs, and pick up arguably their best result of the season. Connor Casey's boys win it by 2-1 at Patriots Point Soccer Stadium. And it's a tremendous result for the Battery. Andrew Booth is the Heineken man of the match. His brace gives Charleston all 3 points, and it's Charleston's best win of the season.
And as he should, he was fantastic. Just the spaces that he took up, just the goals. You look at his movement, arriving late on the first one, the second one, the secondary movement off the striker. He was at the thick of everything going forward for the Charleston Battery. If you're Connor Casey, the way that your boys implemented your game plan, your X's and O's, taking it from the training ground off the board to show it out on the field of your game day, you have to be extremely pleased. And well-deserved 3 points for the Charleston Battery as they take down the Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Final score, Charleston 2, Tampa Bay 1. We'll take a break, and we will wrap things up from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina next.
Friday, September 23rd.
This is your vacation, your beach, your fields of green, skies of blue, mountains of majesty. You're an athlete, you're obsessed, you're in love, you're in pain, spirit drained, in agony, fighting gravity, because you made a commitment to yourself and others to work on your game, build your frame in blazing heat, exhausted and beat. You're not alone, you're supported, pushed, tested, tried, trued, broken, fixed, and put back on track to do it all again. Your road is long, on open highway, completely secluded, jammed with traffic, horns blaring, sirens screaming, speed limit, near misses, head-on collisions, body shops, rest stops, so many tolls to pay. Your destination isn't a place, it's a record, a dance, a feeling. Hands in the air, stands on their feet, joy all around. Because when you refuse to yield, your spirit is revealed. You are an athlete. MUSC Health, Sports Medicine.
Charleston is a water town.
Being on the water is part of the lifestyle here. Whether you're fishing or boating, you've got so many family-friendly activities.
There are so many spots to go, from beaches to the marsh. Nature is a big reason why people actually come here.
It's absolutely breathtaking.
In any season, you can find your paradise, really.
Sean St. Jacques, Ricky Lopez, Espen back here with you. Final score is brought to you by Wicked Weed. 2-1 in favor of the hometown Charleston Battery tonight, who celebrate with their fans here at Patriots Point Soccer Stadium, knocking off the Tampa Bay Rowdies tonight in South Carolina. Let's take a look at the Bud Light full-time highlights here, and it really was a dream start for Tampa Bay. Sebastian Guenzatti ties the franchise record with 60 goals in his career with Tampa Bay to open the scoring.
And just the lack of rotation, the communication between Sheldon and Archer is going to be very frustrating for Connor Casey as Guenzatti opens up the scoring with a textbook header. But then it was all about the response. Going down, Charleston Battery, easy to hang your heads, but not this side to show what it means to play for this organization. Andrew Booth has been fantastic just with his movement, arriving late on this first one, but look at the bottom of your screen, the realization as Scarlett gets pulled out, there's going to be real estate right down the throat of the back line of the Tampa Bay Rowdies. As Cochran comes up, just puts it straight through his legs. Fantastic goal. Give credit to Connor Casey. The timely substitution of Apodaca caused all sorts of problems for the Rowdies.
Tampa Bay had a late flurry, couple of huge saves from Hugo Farreau for the Battery to hold on late and win it.
And he was fantastic as well. Timely saves, big time saves, whatever it was, anything that the Rowdies threw at him, he was able to catch. This is probably the best one of the night. How quickly he gets down and just kisses it off his near post. But that's not an easy thing. As he's setting his feet, the agility to go down in a big bear claw to put it out for a corner kick. And then again, last-ditch defending effort. This time it's Hogan coming across his goalkeeper. And then A.J. Patterson, the inability to clear it, but he makes up for his mistake here. It just puts it out for a corner kick, excuse me. But if you're Connor Casey, this game shows the pride, the character of your boys. and says, look, we really want this, and it means a lot. Just unable to have this performance throughout the whole season.
Final look at tonight's stats provided by Breeze Airways and the Charleston International Airport. Even as far as shots on target, but the Battery, I think we can agree, Ricky, thoroughly deserved the 3 points, and now plenty of work for the Rowdies to do if they want to stay in the race for the top spot in the playoffs, at least in the Eastern Conference.
And if you even look at it, Augie Williams should have a hat trick.
You're
right.
right.
It could have easily been 5-1, 4-1 for the Charleston Battery. It's just an ability, and it's very uncharacteristic from Augie Williams.
Sicero hitting the bar as well.
Exactly. There's so many opportunities that the Charleston Battery could have ran up the score. They were far better than the Rowdies. And if you're Connor Casey, you have to be extremely pleased. On the other side, Neil Collins, very frustrated with how uncrisp they were. Very sloppy turnovers, and it's an opportunity that goes to the wayside, trying to push yourself up the Eastern Conference table.
Well, this was a fun one in South Carolina tonight. The Rowdies were revved up early on. Guenzati's historic opening goal gave Tampa Bay the dream start. But from that point on, the Battery responded. The Booth brace, enough in the end for all 3 points, and Charleston gets their best result of the season. For Ricky Lopez-Espin and our entire crew, I'm Sean St. Jacques saying so long from South Carolina. A big win for the Battery, and the Rowdies have to regroup.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.